So, Mark, did you see this meme for the alarm for early morning flights? It's so stupid.
It's exactly my wife. She does like the snooze 15 times before getting up. It drives me nuts. But I hate early morning flights because I always get like overly anxious and I find myself waking up like 30 minutes before, an hour before I'm supposed to get up, checking the clock. And then you fall asleep literally 5 minutes before the alarm goes off and you get into like the deepest sleep you've had all night. And all of a sudden, bam, it goes off.
See, the opposite happens to me. I'll set 3 or 4 alarms and then I'll wake up a few minutes early and then I'll go take my shower and then all the alarms are going off, waking my family up and everything because I'm in the shower. I can't get out. So I guess there are a lot of these travel alarm problems.
There you go. You just need the XL phone and you can fit them all in there.
On to more serious news. The 777X, this is Boeing's plane. I think they announced it in 2013, a long time ago, and it's had quite a few issues along the way. It's back in flight testing for certification, and they just had to ground it because of a structural component between the engine and the airplane. But of course, this is a long history. It's been grounded before for other issues, for parts issues, including it was doing something similar to what the 737 MAX did, where it would adjust its altitude automatically. They fixed that. And it was supposed to, I think, originally come out in 2021. It was delayed to 25, now 26 and beyond, probably. What a mess. What is wrong with this company? Like, didn't they just used to be able to design airplanes and then eventually build them?
Oh yeah. On one hand, you look at this and you're like, "Hey, this is the system doing what it should do, and like what should have happened with all the crashes and stuff that we've had with Boeing over the last couple of years." So that's good. It worked the way it's supposed to. But also, can Boeing go like 3 months without having something bad or faulty happen? It just blows my mind how they used to be like the peak of safety and everybody loved them, like the greatest, one of the greatest companies in the country. And maybe this is just piling on at this point, but it's sad to see that they just can't get out of their own way somewhat.
It's amazing how much in the cultural zeitgeist it is. Anytime there's an airplane incident now, everybody, is it Boeing? Like, that's not a question everybody asked before. So they certainly have a lot to overcome here. But yeah, during this Hawaii test flight, they found the structural link between the engine and wing was damaged. And then they looked at some of the other test aircraft and found cracks in that same space in the other aircraft. So as you say, this is the system working, but this model has been testing for years. And you wonder, is this a new problem or did it exist earlier and why it's taking so long to get this done? But eventually the 777X is a big plane for them and it's a fuel efficient plane, a big future for them of the 777. And it's an important move for them, not something they can just scrap. So we'll keep an eye out. We're not aviation reporters here. We're just nerds. Well, I'm a nerd who likes to fly. I don't know what you are. But it's interesting to follow from this layman's perspective.
Airbus just needs to buy Boeing and make all Airbuses, and the world will be good again. There you go.
So speaking of Europe, this German tourist did a X thread talking about 15 thoughts on America after a visit. And a lot of this stuff, there's videos on YouTube and this genre has become sort of popular. A lot of times it's used by foreigners to trash Americans and how we are. But unfortunately or fortunately, there is some truth to it. And I'll start with this one. The one that stood out to me the most was Americans being so loud compared to Europeans. There's two caveats to that. The Spanish and the Italians are loud. I don't care what you say. They're just loud, and that's great, and it's part of their culture. But Americans are loud. I remember years ago leaving the country for over a year and then coming back and landing at LAX, and my ears were just bombarded with people. I couldn't really even fathom how loud we all are.
Yeah, I'm guilty of being loud for sure, but I did get yelled at in Italy in a pub at like 8, 9 p.m. Somebody yelled at me to calm or be quieter because they had their little kid there at 9 o'clock at night, but whatever. So they are usually louder, but there's times, I guess. So I thought that was funny, but he goes to New York and Las Vegas, which are like the two kind of like places that are the most stark contrast to most of America. Over the topness, he's like, oh, they got flashy stuff, flashy cars. Like, yeah, you're in New York, and then he's like, another thing he brings up is that the lights are always on. Well, it's Vegas and New York. Like, okay, go anywhere like middle America and it gets pretty dark at night. So I don't think all of it resonated well, but I did find it funny that like Americans will strike up a conversation with anybody. And we always see that in reports like friendliest country in the world. And America's usually like up top of there. And we say America, but we should say United States of America. Since America means North America. But America. So it's cool to see that because we do kind of strike up a conversation. You go to other countries and it's not that way. Like people kind of stay in their pockets a little bit and don't really converse amongst the bigger group. So I think that's cool for us and to see.
I've had conversations with Europeans about this, with the fake, how we greet each other, how are you, things like that, where you don't know the person, don't really care. They see it as fake. But what I don't ever understand about Europeans is they're so open to cultural diversity, yet they don't accept that part of our culture. It's not a bad thing to be friendly to people, even though it makes them feel uncomfortable and shallow. Of course, he had to call Americans fat, which we are fatter than anywhere else in the world. If you've traveled, it is true. Yeah, as far as us wasting resources, we don't have a lot of power saving stuff, compared to other countries, like in hotel rooms where you have to put the key in to keep the lights on, and even in hallways, stuff like that. But we are doing better with that stuff. But yeah, I just think overall he seemed to like it. He talked about Vegas, saying how sad casinos are, but the same thing he discussed you could see in any casino anywhere in the world. I didn't think it was a terrible way. I thought it was a nice balanced way of saying this is what was different, here's what I liked, here's what I didn't, as opposed to some of these times people just trash the United States.
Yeah, I never really thought about it. Like he brings up like the how's it going, and how often we say that in this country, and we don't really want a real response. It's just kind of a politeness to say, just kind of like run of the mill, like, hey, how's it going today? And you're like, good, and that's all you like. It's just kind of like saying hi, and how off-putting that was to him, or it kind of threw him off a little bit. It was interesting to see. I could see why it would be that way, but it's the same as saying hello here. So I think you just have to kind of accept that when you go other places, you say different things.
So let us know what you guys think in the comments about how Americans are different, what's good, what's bad. I think it's interesting to talk about this stuff as long as we do it in a positive way. And we try to do that for other people. They try to do it for us. I thought he did a good job here. So I did want to talk briefly about my trip up to Idaho and to Spokane this last weekend. I talked more about it on Miles to Memories podcast if you want a more in-depth look at it. But I flew up to Spokane. I used my Frontier status, the Diamond status, through the match that I paid $79 for the year, and I got top tier status. $19 flights up to Seattle, Mark. So that was great. Got the empty middle seat guaranteed, all of the perks there. Drove across to Spokane, and the reason I did that is we visited a small park in Seattle, which sucked, called Wild Waves, which I won't talk about more. And Spokane was nice. I have been through Spokane, and it used to be not the nicest center of the city, but there's an area called Riverfront Park where they had the 1974 World's Fair. And that area with Spokane Falls, they have a cable car that goes out over the falls. Just one of the more beautiful areas. I stayed at the DoubleTree there. It was 35,000 Hilton points a night, renovated recently. And that's actually a very nice place to stay.
Yeah, did you like my show notes? Potato, potato.
Usually I send Mark some pictures and stuff before, but I didn't this time. So he's in the blind, but you'll see Spokane Falls. It's a really cool area. Got to wake up early. The weather was much nicer than in Vegas. So did some early morning walks, and it's beautiful. And that area of downtown Spokane used to be a little rough, and they've definitely revitalized it a lot. But the main reason for the trip was to go to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and a park called Silverwood. My friend Dave and I are trying to ride every wooden coaster in the country. We're less than 10 away, and both the parks in Seattle and Silverwood have wooden coasters. But Coeur d'Alene is one of the friendliest places. You talk about friendly people. Coeur d'Alene, right on the lake, in the mountains, great weather, a charming main street with tons of bars. This is a place that you would absolutely love. And they have that golf course with the hole that's right in the middle of the lake as well. That's world famous.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. And it just goes to show you, like, basically any pocket has something worth seeing. Every state, every area of a state, like, even if you live there and you think there's nothing here to do, there's something there that people would enjoy going to see. So just take it in when you can, wherever you go. There's so much of this country. And that's what's unique about this. Usually you go to different countries, like in Europe and stuff. When you go state to state, it kind of feels like a new country, even though you're in the same one, because there is such a difference between the people, the food, the experience, what they offer, all that stuff. So take it in while you can.
And if Coeur d'Alene has ever hit your radar, or if it hasn't, you should check it out. It is a really neat place, kind of old school throwback Americana, but all of the beauty. That lake is incredible. My brother used to have a house there, so I spent some time out on the lake, and this was just hanging out in the town. And it's just one of the neater areas to fly. Flew home on Allegiant. This is my second flight ever with them. Just did a small backpack, so didn't have to pay for the baggage. And it was on time. It was good. And I did the Allegiant trick. If you wait longer to check in, they fill the plane because you have to pay for a seat assignment. But if you don't pay for one, they fill the plane back to front. So if you wait really long to check in, you have a better chance of getting an exit row or increased legroom. I missed by one row. I should have waited a little bit longer, but we ended up in the second row of the plane, got off quickly. A nice flight with Allegiant. And I will say Allegiant seats are definitely better than Frontier. A lot more padding there. So low-cost carrier, cheap Hilton nights. The biggest cost was the rental car. and that sort of sucked, but everything else was great. And Silverwood is amazing, and it was a great quick trip and an example of how miles and points save so much money.
Rental cars can be crazy, man. It's still crazy. Not as crazy as they were a couple years ago, but they can still really hurt your budget. So that's why I like traveling where you don't need to use them as much. But there's times where there's no getting around it. And low cost carriers, I did the thumbs down if you're listening to this for Allegiant, but they're all kind of the same. And I prefer Spirit of the three. But yeah, as long as it's on time and everything gets you from point A to point B, I've usually had good experiences with them. So don't overlook them.
Yeah, it went well. And we did have my credit card insurance as a backup because they only have 2 flights a week into that airport in Spokane from Las Vegas. So it's a direct flight. Another reason to do low cost carriers as opposed to connecting elsewhere. But had that plane had an issue, they would not have had a replacement plane for several days. So having the insurance is important. I could have booked another flight on Southwest or got home another way, and that would have been covered. So always interesting to plan this stuff, but it was a great trip. Shout out to my friend Dave, as we almost are on every single wooden
Hey,
coaster, Mark. Almost
he's
every
my
single
friend
one.
too.
He was my friend first.
What's up, Dave?
So on the credit card news, and the Ink Business Preferred, the 120,000 point bonus is coming to an end on September 5th. This is an increased offer. What was it before? 100,000 right before they changed it?
Yeah, it was 100,000 and it was the same amount of spend, so $8,000 of spend in 3 months. So that was cool. Like you don't usually see that. Usually when the bonus goes up, the spend goes up too. And this card used to be, 100,000 for $15,000 in spend. So it's gotten quite a bit better over the last year or two. This is the best it's ever been. I think it ends at like 9 a.m. that day. The morning of, so probably better to do it the day before if you're waiting until last minute. But one of the better offers, probably top 2 or 3 offers we've seen this year, probably will be at the end of the year still up there. So I would assume it would drop back down to the 100K.
Yeah, and that's worth at least 1,200 in cash, but really if you transfer programs like Hyatt, you're getting significantly more value. What's also been valuable is the refer a friend offers on these business cards. They've been offering 40,000 ultimate rewards for referrals. They were offering 40,000 points per referral, but that's going to go back to the historic normal, which was 20,000 on September 3rd. So making all kinds of changes. If you want to make a referral, you need somebody to sign up. Make sure they do it before that date.
We should note that the offer didn't go up via referral, so it's still 100K for the refer when you're referring the friend, which is a little bit unique. Usually it matches it later on if the offer increases, but this one never went up there. If you're still like, if it's you're referring your spouse or whatever, you're still going to come out ahead with the 100K plus the 40K versus just signing up for the 120K. Now, if you're referring a friend, you have to decide, how evil do you want to be? Do you want to get 40K for yourself and shortchange them 20K? Or, that's the great debate right there.
Not really a debate. Don't be a D-bag and tell them about the better
Well, you
offer.
could transfer
That's how
20K out or something. You can work it out.
Yeah, that's true. If you could give them the 20K, then you could still pocket the rest. But we always cover the best deals. We think you should give your friends the best deals too. And then, if they ever get in the hobby, they're going to know someday that you screwed them over. So, what
Yeah,
goes around
that's
comes
true.
around.
Go for multiple referrals, not just the one.
So the hidden Southwest card perk you didn't know about, the Southwest Performance Business Card has an interesting perk for free Wi-Fi. It gives you $8 a day for Wi-Fi for 365 days of the year, but it also pays points too.
Yeah, and it actually, like, they set it up so you could do it one every day, but it's like you can use as many as you want each flight, which is crazy. So if you have a phone, a laptop, your kids are with you, you can give them all Wi-Fi. A random person sitting next to you, give them Wi-Fi, whatever you want to do, because you can do up to 365 in a year, and most people don't fly every day. So that's kind of unique, but it's working, similar to what we see with like Amex offers and stuff. The charge gets wiped off the statement credit, but you still earn the 4 times points on the purchase. So that's cool. I mean, it's not much. It's 32 points, but 32 points at 365 adds up to over 11,000.
So if you're only flying once or twice a year, just buy everybody on the plane
Yeah.
free Wi-Fi, and then you do that.
Wi-Fi for beer.
Yeah. When you add it up to the 11,000 plus points that you could earn from it, it really is a perk. A couple $100 worth of plane tickets.
The same thing works for upgraded boarding, that you get a couple of those every year. I think it goes up to like 140, 150 bucks when they get up to the upper amounts. You still get the statement credit and you earn the points. So make sure you're using that, even if you don't think you need it. If it's running out and you have a flight coming up, just use the 2 or 4 or whatever the boarding is, I forget, upgraded boarding, so that you get those points too.
Every once in a while, an opportunity comes where you have to make a bit of a gamble or decide whether you're willing to do that. And we have something like that going on now. American Express has a 20% transfer bonus from membership rewards to Hawaiian Airlines. And Hawaiian Airlines, not the best program in the world. It's not the worst either. It's like 20,000 in economy from the West Coast to Hawaii. And depending on where you're flying from, it goes up from there. I would say that some of the redemptions are okay. Others aren't good, but none of them are like I'm running out to go transfer points to Hawaiian for. But Alaska is buying Hawaiian, and the sort of understanding is that these programs will merge and that Hawaiian miles will become Alaska miles. And Alaska miles are a lot harder to get. Bilt is really their only transfer partner, so it's harder to accumulate. So there's this thought experiment is if you transfer American Express membership rewards, I hope I'm explaining this in any way people can understand, to Hawaiian now, you'll get a 20% bonus, and then somewhere down the line when this merger goes through, all of those Hawaiian miles, including the bonus, will go to Alaska. And then how much should you transfer is the big question.
Yeah, we've seen something like this happen with other mergers and things like that. And even if you go back to like the SPG and Marriott days, the big question was, do you burn your miles now, your SPG points now? Do you move them out before the merger, expecting not a great return? I moved all mine to American when there was a bonus. I think it was like 20K for 30K. And I moved out my 200,000 I had or whatever it was at the time. Because I figured it'd be like 1 SPG point to 2 Marriott, which isn't very good. It ended up being 1 to 3. And I was like, oh man, I wish I had just hung on a bit more. So those are the risks you do. You might regret it, you might not. We don't know for sure it's going to happen, the merger. It looks very likely, but anything can happen. And then you also don't know what the transfer rate would be between the two programs. It could be 1 to 1. That would probably be the most likely. It could be like 1 to 0.8, type of thing. And then you lose a little bit of value with the bonus. Maybe it makes it like a wash, technically. Those are things you got to worry about. And then you also don't know how long it will take for the two programs to merge. Could take a couple years, so you might get stuck with these miles just sitting there.
Yeah, I have a friend who transferred 500,000 recently. He flies Alaska a lot, so I think that makes more sense. Alaska has also been very good for booking American Airlines flights. So there's a lot of potential value, a lot of partners there. So you're sort of investing in that. If you get stuck with the Hawaiian miles, then, fly to Hawaii and there's some other redemptions, but again, it's not the greatest value. But I think you have to have that in mind that you could potentially just get stuck with these if the merger falls through. So don't transfer so many that you would be spending the rest of your life trying to burn Hawaiian miles. That's sort of where I'm thinking. I'm in my head about 200 to 300,000. I guess it also depends on how many membership rewards you have. I'm sitting on over 2 million of them, which to some people is nothing. To others, it's like, oh my God, that's a lot. A lot plays into it, but I think you have to look at the worst case scenario. What would I do with these Hawaiian miles if I'm stuck with them?
Yeah, they have some partner awards like airlines you can do. They're not the greatest. You could fly to Japan from Hawaii on Hawaiian, so that's a good use. I'm sitting with 80K in my account because I booked originally for our Hawaii trip. I booked it coming back to Vegas at 20K a person in economy, which is actually a pretty good deal. So if you want to fly to Hawaii, that's a decent deal. You can fly lie flat there as well. But I have 80K in there already, so I'm kind of already like skin in the game. I don't know that I want to throw more on top, but I did just burn a big chunk of my Alaska miles booking flights to the Bahamas. We got it for 7,500 miles a person to fly American when American wanted like 40, 50K each way. So they can be insanely valuable at times. So it might be worth the risk, might not be. It's tough.
And that's the fun of this game that we play. And that's why we got to at least put a little skin in the game, got to do something. The transfer bonus ends the end of August 31st. So make sure you do it before that, or else it just goes back to the normal rate and it's not as fun and not as valuable. So on to Bilt's rent day. Bilt's sort of been in the news a lot, but they actually have a really good rent day. Last couple months haven't been as good, but this time they're doing some good stuff with transfer bonuses, including Avianca Life Miles. This is a program that has a lot of other partners, but a 50% transfer bonus for all Bilt Rewards members, which is great. It doesn't matter what status you have. You'll be able to do a 50% transfer bonus on September 1st. Also Virgin, either Virgin Atlantic or Virgin Red, they're going to have a transfer bonus as well, although this one will depend on your status. So if you have just the blue status, you'll get a 20% bonus all the way up to platinum members getting 100% bonus. Both of these are very good. I love that Life Miles doesn't matter what your status is.
Yeah, I think that's, unique compared to what we've seen lately from Bilt. And I don't know why they're doing two bonuses at once. Like, why not just do one this month and one the next month so you have 2 good months? I don't know, but it makes you debate a little bit. I guess some people would prefer to have them both so they can decide between it. But both of these have recently devalued. Virgin was a quite a bit worse. So I'm leaning less towards that. Life miles, you can still get business on like Lufthansa and stuff to Europe for 70K. So this drops back down. It was 63K, so not terrible. I think that's the better of the two transfer bonuses, even if you have high tier status. I don't think that we've ever seen anything this big to life miles. 50% seems like the highest ever, but don't quote me on that.
I think so too. I just did that ANA business class from Honolulu to Japan using life miles. I think it was 44,000 life miles. So when you factor in a 50% bonus, you can see definitely still some value. It's not what it was years ago. And life miles is good too because they have multiple transfer partners. So if you need to bring in other points to top off, if you only have a limited number of Bilt points, you can do that as well. The other aspect of Rent Day that's interesting is the One Bite Festival, I guess, Dave Portnoy. But they have some interesting redemptions where you can get tickets using Bilt points. And if you do the afternoon session, it's $250 a person or only 7,500 Bilt points, or the evening session, $180 a person or only 5,000 Bilt points. I think they're also going to have an exclusive lounge there. But this sounds like a great deal. I would totally redeem my points for that.
I'm pissed about this because I actually like looked at this when it first came out. My buddy, and by my buddy I mean I eat at his pizza place a lot, and he always says hi when I walk in, so that makes us friends. But yeah, Freddie, the pizza van's going to be there from the Detroit area, and they have all the other like big one bite pizzerias, and you get unlimited pizza. I mean, you can wait in line, get as many as you want. I know there's a limit to your stomach, but it's kind of cool. And I signed up for the text, I got it right away, and then I saw the prices. I was like, well, I'm not going to pay $250 for that. And so I just kind of moved on to and doing something else that weekend. But had I known that I could have got it for 7,500 Bilt points, I would have booked it. I would have had plane tickets, everything. I think it's well worth it for that. If you live in the New York, New Jersey, greater New York area, I think it's a good option for sure.
And now on to some Cool S. And I guess this is a continuation of last week's Cool S. This is the bar. But we got the information for you guys. This bar where they not only have like sports events, they have movies in there. It really is like a miniature version of the Sphere. And there are 2 locations of this company, and I think there's other ones being built. It's called Cos M. There's one in LA that's right near SoFi Stadium, and then there's one in Dallas. And I was looking at tickets. They have their Orbital movie. It's like $28 for a ticket. For the US Open, the earlier rounds, $44 to get a floor seat where you're right next to the screen in an enveloped tier. And when you look at all the different videos of this place, it does seem like it feels like you're in a stadium. Like they really did nail the sort of feel of it.
Yeah, I'm watching this. I'm like, what? Well, crap! I can get rid of my season tickets, and I get a season pass for this. Like, it's the best of both worlds. You feel immersive. You have a big screen. It's kind of like you're there, but you're not there. Bathrooms are better, service is better, food is better, drink deals are better. Like, it's all better, and you're still getting somewhat that experience. Plus, you have other people sitting around you that are getting that same experience, so they're going to be cheering just like you would at a game and stuff. Like, this could be the end of sports, Shawn. Live sports.
I don't know about that. Maybe, I don't know. Or this is the end of the sports bar, or the future, iteration of what a sports bar is. They serve food there, have tables. So you really do get the sports bar experience where you're sort of simulating being at a game. And it does seem like they pulled this off. And this is sort of off the shelf tech. So you have to wonder how many places are doing this, or if they have something proprietary. Like I said, they have videos, they have like planetarium type content along with all the sports stuff. Bigger events, you're going to pay more to be in there. But I think they're going to fill this up. It's also in that sports district in LA with the Forum and the SoFi Stadium and the new Intuit Dome down the street. So it's in the right area too.
Except for I bet LA people don't care about sports.
Well, why do you think they got to make a fake thing?
Sorry, LA people, it's true.
So I don't know. I just think I'm looking forward to the future of all these things. Cool to get a closer look since we just briefly mentioned it on the show last week. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Southwest, that Wi-Fi trick. Have you ever done that? The ink bonus ending, my trip up to Idaho, flying budget carriers, Coeur d'Alene, all of that good stuff. That's stadium seating. I can't do the ending of the show, Mark, so let's just tell them to leave a comment down below. It's a new show. We also have our other channel, MTM Vegas. Make sure you check that out for all the Vegas content. Subscribe, leave a comment. Love to talk with you. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody. Potato, potato.
So, Mark, did you see that meme of the alarm? This is so stupid. I can't do it. It's just so stupid. I don't even know how to introduce this.